right, good afternoon, everyone that continued to hang out with us. So for the next 30 minutes or so, Mr. Brian Berry from ScanForce is joining us. As I mentioned in our last hour and a half, 2 hours together, ScanForce here has really done a lot to help our clients over the last couple of years, and I asked Brian to join us today just to go over some of the cool enhancements that are out there that clients are using, or things that really do help improve the business that just outside of the core scanning abilities that we talked a little bit about in the previous conversations. So Brian is here with us today from ScanForce to walk you through some of those changes, and then if you have questions afterwards, you can reach out to Brian or myself or really any of our consultants. We're happy to get you the information you need or answer questions you may have, etc. But Brian, go ahead and take it away.
Okay, will do. Thanks a lot, Chris. Yeah, I love following Chris on these things because it makes me sound like so much a better presenter than normal. So thank you much for the invitation. No, we have a great relationship with the folks at DWD. Many clients. We greatly appreciate that relationship. So again, my name, Brian Berry. I'll be walking you through the presentation today. And I want everybody to get your phone out. Normally, this is the part of the presentation where they tell you to put your phone away and silence it. We're going to do the exact opposite, okay? In just a moment, I'm going to pop up a barcode. I want you to open up the camera app on your phone. And through scanning, just to hold your phone up with the camera app. You don't take a picture of everything. It will provide a link on your screen. You click, it's going to link your phone to the website that links back to my presentation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop up a series of questions like polls, and you'll be able to see those and answer those on your phone dynamically, and the answers will flow back in to my presentation. Now, we won't see your individual responses. It'll be more like, 20% of people said this, 50% of people said that sort of thing. So nothing that you say personally will get out there, I promise. But this is really important because this allows us to do benchmarking, okay? I'm going to go ahead and put that barcode up there on the screen. So just hold your camera app up and view the barcode through your camera app, and you click on the link. That will link you to the presentation. If at any point in time you get disconnected, the barcode will be on each individual poll question slide as well. You can relink, okay? So this concept of benchmarking is really important. It's something that every business needs to do, but we just rarely find the time to do it. But if you think about who's in the room right now, a bunch of Sage 100 people, a bunch of people that move stuff around for a living and sell stuff and have things that come into their warehouse and flow out of their warehouse. So we're all in different lines of business, but we're all doing the same mechanism. So this is a great group to benchmark yourself against. So when I ask questions, if 80% of the people say one thing and you're in the 20 percentile, then obviously that may prompt you to ask some questions of yourself. Why are we not doing what everybody else is doing, or what everybody else thinks is the right way to do it? And there isn't necessarily a right way, wrong way, but at least this will hopefully spark some conversation. So I hope everybody's had a chance to open up your camera app on your phone, scan that barcode. Let's dive in and hit our first question. Now, the way I'm going to start this is a quick little history of barcodes, because a lot of people think barcodes are magic. They do all these weird, cool things. But I really want to give a quick baseline, get everybody on the same page, because some of you may have been using barcoding for a long time. Others may be completely foreign. So I just want to kind of level the playing field, get everybody on the same screen, let you know exactly what barcodes are, what they do, and sometimes, maybe even more importantly, what they don't. So here comes the very first question. Okay. Pick the year when barcodes were first created. So give me just a second. That should be popped up on your phone now. Go ahead and just click on one of those. And don't worry about right answers, wrong answers. My kindergarten teacher told me a long, long time ago, Brian, there are no stupid answers, just stupid people. I'm not quite sure what she meant by that. But in just a moment, I'm going to switch the screen over, and we'll see your responses as they flow through. So get your answers locked in, and here we go in 3, 2, 1. 1974 is the winner. That's what most of you think. And then there's some others, 1776 didn't get any love, not surprising. But here's the real deal. 1974 was what most of you think was the answer. And in fact, in 1974, a pack of Wrigley's Juicy Fruit Gum was scanned in Ohio. And that was the first time a barcode was scanned. So everybody should be feeling, well, at least, most of you feeling pretty good about your answer. However, way back in 1948 is when barcodes were actually first created. So most of you heard the Wrigley's story and you got the 1974, but trick question, when were they created? Way back in the 40s, and you see they were actually patented in the early 50s. In fact, this is a screenshot from that patent. This was the first barcode ever conceived or devised or put on paper. It was called the bullseye for obvious reasons, but it didn't win out. The linear barcode that we see today that looks more like a picket fence, like what you see on a box of cereal, that design ultimately won out in the consumer world because the printing technology of the day couldn't print this well because it would smear because of all the curved surfaces. But a linear barcode going through a printer was just one straight line of pixels, if you will, and so it was much better. All right. So the next question, how many barcode symbologies are there? Before you answer, you may want to know what the heck a symbology is. Well, symbology is just a language of barcodes, and we, as humans, we talk in English or French or Spanish or German or what have you. Barcodes have languages too. We call them symbologies. Take a wild guess. About how many symbologies do you think there are out there in the world? And in 3, 2, 1, we're going to pop up the answer, get yourself locked in, and 117. I love it. That many of you think that there's that many symbologies because you think barcodes are huge. They're everywhere, but you're wrong. The answer is 30. It's actually 30-ish. There's a couple that are fringe, but 30-ish is the right ballpark number. So those of you 13%ers, good job. That is the correct answer, 30. So these languages or symbologies all have different names. Which one of these doesn't sound like something a real barcode would be called? Okay. Which one of these is not the name of a real barcode symbology? Aztec, Interleaf 205, MSI Leslie, and Codablock. Which one sounds the fakest, I guess? Here we go. Here's the answer coming in 3, 2, 1. Trick question. Those are all barcode symbologies. So yes, Interleaf 205, Codablock, Aztec, and MSI Leslie are all actual names of symbologies. I threw that question in there just because I wanted to prove that nobody really knows this stuff except those of us geeks like me that have been doing this for 25 years. And actually, if you've ever flown the plane, look at your boarding pass. The airline industry uses Aztec barcodes. It looks like a two-dimensional, kind of like a QR code that has blocks in the middle, like squares that radiate out from the center. Those are Aztec barcodes. If you've ever flown on a plane, you've actually used one of these. Okay. Now, a question for each of you, simple yes and no. Do you use lots and or serial numbers in your operation? Okay. Hopefully you know the answer to this. Go ahead and lock your answer in there, yes or no. And about 2/3 of you do, and about 1/3 of you don't. That's about what I expected to hear, okay? And their polls changing a little bit, okay? So maybe more, that's even great, okay? So barcodes are so critical for any of you that are using lots or serials. If you're doing this on paper, how much time do your people spend writing down lot numbers? And it's serial numbers 10 times worse because it's a one-to-one relationship. At least with lots, you may have 100 of the same lot, right? So I had one customer. They were in the food business. Everything was lot controlled. And their suppliers sent them everything with a barcode label, which is great. They have to print themselves. But there was one barcode for the item code, and there was one barcode for the lot number. And they did about 30,000 barcode scans a day across their 7 locations. And they sat in on a meeting of mine one time, and somebody called me afterwards, and they said, Brian, are you serious? We could do a two-dimensional barcode, like a QR code, that can hold both the item code and the lot number and capture both pieces of data with one barcode scan? And I said, yeah, only for like 20-something years you could do that. They saved themselves 15,000 barcode scans a day just by changing the symbology or language of the barcode that we're using. So there's a great deal of art that goes with the science of the barcode. We're the barcode experts. I personally have been doing this since 2000. I date myself a little bit. So would love to have a conversation with you and talk about your specific use case, your needs, and find out which type of barcode would make the most sense for you. Now, I said that 2D barcodes can hold like a lot number and a serial number. So what do you think? How many total digits do you think a 2D barcode could hold? All right, here we go. Lock your answers in. 3, 2, 1, and answers still coming in. 250 is leading the way. The answer is actually 7,000. If in doubt, go big. I can code the entire Gettysburg Address the size of a postage stamp. That's how dense the symbologies are, some of these. So we can, if we can hold 7,000 digits, we can definitely hold your item code, your lot numbers, serial numbers, expiration dates, born on dates, you name it, we can put it in there, okay? Now, one of these symbologies that is the most prevalent is the UPC, or Universal Product Code. This is what you see when you go to the grocery store, okay, Walmart, Target. This is what's on all consumer goods. They're scanned all over the world, all day, every day. Take a wild guess about how many times a day do you think the UPC codes are scanned? Lock those in, and here we go with the results in 3, 2, 1. Bingo. If in doubt, go big. Actually, 5 billion. 5 billion. 1 billion, still a good guess. Actually, some of you are cheating. You're waiting until I tell you the answer, then you're liking your vote set. But that's okay. We'll hold it against you. We're not keeping score. Except I really am behind the scenes, but you don't know that. That's okay. No, I'm actually not. I can't see who does what. All I see is the results. But yes, 5 billion times a day, UPC's codes are scanned. Okay, so again, I want to do a really quick checkup, make sure everybody understood what barcodes are. Just kind of take some of the mystery out of them. All a barcode does, really, when you scan it, is it sends keyboard strokes. That's really the whole magic behind it. When you scan a barcode, it decodes whatever that is, converts it to letters, numbers, characters, whatever, and it sends keyboard strokes and types it in that field. A barcode scanner is really just the world's fastest typist. It's really what it is. So now that you know a little bit about barcodes, let me tell you just a little bit about my organization, ScanForce. So we've been around for a long time. We are very deeply ingrained into the Sage world. We grew out of Sage 100. It was a Sage 100 client that said, hey, I want to scan the barcodes. How do I do that? And something was written for them. It got spun off into its own entity called ScanForce way back when. And now we have upwards of 10,000 users across Sage. Sage actually white labels our solution, meaning that they sell it as their own product for a different ERP package other than Sage 100. So it's a sort of skinny down version of what would be available to you in the 100 world that they provide for other ERPs, but actually Sage sells it, still us behind the scenes, but just to let you know kind of how we're viewed in the larger Sage world. So what we do is WMS, that's this up here, it stands for Warehouse Management System. We have 3 different versions, Core, Select, and Premier. Excuse me. We can obviously print labels. We're a barcoding company. What good would be if we didn't have a barcode to scan? So we can print those at receipt of goods coming out of manufacturing and various other times. Okay? All the manufacturing stuff, even old legacy work order. Don't tell Sage to go away. We can still do it. Okay? Bill of materials, production management. This make-to-order piece is really kind of cool. It's a companion to production management. If you're using PM today, how cool would it be if we just watched you enter sales orders and automatically created the work tickets for you to make all that stuff that you need? Well, that's what make-to-order does. Okay. We also have a mobile sales piece, which allows you to disconnect from Sage and like a tablet and take orders from either your will call desk or a trade show or in front of your customer at their office, that sort of thing. So we can talk about that if you want, but we're mainly here to talk about barcoding. And the warehousing barcoding solution, it's all about speed and efficiencies. So we did this million record challenge years ago. We loaded up 1 million records, and it returned that to us in less than 0.03 seconds, which is really, really fast, even for computers. It's very intuitive. Like I said, we grew out of Sage 100. We know how Sage 100 wants the data to flow back in, so the screens are designed very intuitively. And support, this is one where I'll just say, ask your DVD person, whoever you talk to over there. Ask them what their thoughts are about our support, and I think you'll be impressed when you hear it. Okay? All right. I'm a statistics guy. I like hearing numbers and what other people think. Again, kind of back to benchmarking. What is the rest of the world doing? Okay? Well, back in 2020, this group came up with this figure. 80% of U.S. companies use barcoding in their warehouse one degree or another. Okay, so again, are you an 80% company or are you a 20% company? If you're an 80% company, are you curious about how you can do it better and the other things you can add? We're going to talk about some enhancement things that we can do to add efficiencies. If you're a 20 percentile company and you're listening to this, it means you're interested in finding out, well, what's the other 80% of the world doing? Okay, that's my job. I can get on the phone with you and talk through your needs and how we can help. Okay. Another one, GS1, they're sort of a standard organization across the world for making sure barcodes line up. It's kind of like 802.11 for it's a Wi-Fi standard, kind of a similar thing here. Well, they say that barcodes can reduce logistical errors by up to 41%. Okay, so however many errors you have ever had in your warehouse, how would you like to flip a switch and have 41% of them go away? Okay, that's kind of what the magic that we're talking about here with the barcodes. And another finding fairly recently as well, about 5 years ago, implementing barcodes improved real-time accuracy of your inventory by 27%. Okay, if your inventory is not accurate, what do? You tell purchasing to buy more. Fluff factor. Are things more expensive now than they were a couple of years ago? Of course they are. That we have a new president because of that. Actually, that's one of the big things that was talked about is price of goods. Everything's more expensive now, right? So if you could reduce your carrying cost by just a little bit, would that be worth it? Take a fraction of the money that you're spending and increase carrying costs and put it towards technology that can actually prevent that kind of inaccuracy from being a problem as we go down the road. Okay? All right, let's jump back into our poll questions here. Let me ask another question of you. Guess how many enhancements we have. I told you on one of the first screens that we have 3 different versions or editions of our warehouse management system, but we have an a la carte menu off to the side of enhancements that can be added on to help tweak a process or add some efficiency. So how many total enhancements do you think we have? 50-50. Not 44. Okay. The correct answer is actually 63. Nobody went big, even though I harped on going big was never a bad choice. Nobody went big for 97. 63 is actually the answer. Okay. Now, in saying that, the top-end version, the premier version of our software, has a lot of those things built in. They're sort of baked into the software. Whereas the core product, the smaller, more entry-level product, you can bolt on one of those enhancements rather than upgrading all the way to the top. So we try to make it very financially viable for you, allowing you to sort of a la carte piece things together to build the perfect solution for you so you're not really overpaying for anything. Okay? Another question. I'd like for you to rank the most popular enhancements. Okay? So rank them. Production management, wave picking, bill of materials, label printing, and pallet tracking. So if you click on your screen and drag them up to the top, I believe is the way it works, and then you can drag and sort of rearrange them into workable order. So a lot of people think production management, and still people are thinking and active, okay? Still people chiming in. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and leave this up there while we talk. Actually, label printing is number 1 because, again, we're a barcode company. What good would be without a barcode label? 99% of our clients want to print labels. We do have some people that deal with consumer goods, so stuff comes in already labeled, good for them, but most people want to print a barcode label, okay? The next 2 are both manufacturing. It's actually bill of materials second, production management third. Okay, now I did this over 4 years, and what I found was over a 4-year period, we had 1 more bill of materials client than we did production management client. But last year, we sold about 3 times as many PM deals as we did bill of materials deals, which means there's a trend in the Sage 100 market moving towards production management. So again, thinking about benchmarking, what are other people doing? Production management is by far increasing over bill of materials in terms of what people want to do. Obviously, you could track labor and some other things like that. So that's one of the reasons why. Okay, wave picking, the ability to group orders together to pick them simultaneously. And then finally, pallet tracking was the 5th most popular of this list. These are the top 5. Simply because pallet tracking hasn't been around as long, and not everybody deals with things at the pallet level. Some people deal with more the item, piece, case level, that sort of thing. So not everybody needs to do palletings. So the actual order is label printing, bill of materials production management, sort of 1A or 2A and 2B, and then weighting and then palleting. Okay. Now, since we talked about some of the enhancements that are available out there, let's talk about what's hot right now. What are people coming to us and talking about the most? Okay. And some of these are very popular because they are new. This order assignment's about a year old. We released this last October. What it allows me to do is have a list of all my sales orders that need to be picked. And I can sort them by day, by customer, by route, or however you need to do that. And then I can assign them out to individuals. And I can say, Bobby gets 5, and Stevie gets 5, and Timmy gets 5. And that way, everybody has their 5 orders, and they can go pick them. But one of the orders is gigantic and much larger than the others. Well, maybe I only put 1 for Bobby, and then I split up and I do more like, 8 or 9 for the other guys. Okay, that way I can balance my workload, and everybody gets the same amount of work, even though it's different number of orders. I can also prioritize. For instance, if you have 1 order, maybe somebody's coming to pick that up. And so I prioritize it. So when I go to my gun, I look at my to-do list for the day, and this one's at the top of the screen. It's the most important one. It's got to be done first, okay? Or maybe I want to assign the most difficult, complex job to my best person. You can do that too. That's another way to prioritize. You can also go completely paperless doing this. Now, you can certainly print tickets, till the cows come home if you want to. A lot of people want to go paperless. We certainly allow for that with the scanners handhelds, okay? Another thing that's really popular right now is StarShip Integration. If you use StarShip, we need to talk, because what this does is the user on the handheld would scan the items for the sales order. It validates, makes sure they're correct. Excuse me. And then, pardon my cough. And then we're going to ping StarShip behind the scenes, and StarShip is going to automatically spit out my labels. So your users don't have to interface with StarShip at all on an order-by-order basis. Now, still on account management basis, you're going to go in there and do that sort of thing. But on an order-by-order basis, box by box, your users do not have to log into StarShip anymore. We, ScanForce, will ping them behind the scenes and say, hey, here's all the info that you need to generate my labels, and magically they just spit out. And honestly, it happens faster than I could even describe the process. It's really pretty quick, okay? So if you're using StarShip, we should certainly talk, okay? Now, license plating. This one, like I told you a few minutes ago, is newer, so it's gaining in popularity. And what I tell people is, if you have equipment that looks like those things on the screen right now, we need to have a conversation. I would love to play devil's advocate with you and let you prove to me that you don't need license plating or pallet tracking. We call it license plating generically because not everybody ships on pallets. Some people ship in totes or gaylords or bags or barrels or whatever. But license plating allows me to put multiple things on one pallet or one tote or what have you. And it can be all of one item in a mix of lots and serials or expirations, or it can be a mix of a bunch of different items. And the cool thing is, we're going to print a pallet label to go on the outside of the shrink wrap, and then one scan, I can move it, and everything on the pallet moves with one scan. I can build a pallet for a customer and put it on a shelf and leave it for a day, a week, a month, a year, and then when they call to release it, one barcode scan on the pallet ID label, and everything inside that pallet just shipped, because we define what's in the pallet in Sage. That's another important thing. This data doesn't live in ScanForce. Your data will always still live in Sage. We're just augmenting what Sage can do with that data, okay? All right, another question. I want to talk about our support for just a second, because it's a hallmark over here at ScanForce. It's something that we do really well. We take great pride in. What do you think our support team's average response time is? Now, this was calculated over all of last year, 2023. We calculated time to first contact, 30 seconds, 26 minutes, hour and 45 minutes, or 4 hours. What do you think our average response time to support was? And in 3, 2, 1, bingo, 26 minutes. Some of you may have heard me say this before. Yes, 26 minutes was our average time to first response. And by the way, that was not an email that says, we got your message, we'll get back to you tomorrow. That was an actual human responding to your request. And if 26 minutes is the average, it means that half the time we beat it, okay? So that's fast. I'll put that up against anybody in the tech world. And again, don't take my word for this. ask the folks that you deal with at DWD, and they will vouch for that. Okay. Now, in terms of support, certainly implementations, we do all of that ourselves. Ongoing support, custom programming. We have our own programmers. We don't outsource that. We write all of our own code. And you'll have unlimited contacts to our help desk, be it email, phone calls, whatever. We also track and analyze the data. If we have 5 phone calls that come in from you all about the same thing, we might be able to say, hey, with a little extra training, you guys could completely resolve this issue and not have these kind of delays going forward, okay? Also, product updates or Sage 100 upgrades. Whenever 2025 comes out, PU1, PU2, whatever it is, we're a master developer in the Sage world. What that means is we get an advanced copy of these things before they come out to the real world. So we get our ducks in a row. We're ready to support it within days of it being offered to you, the public. So bottom line, we'll be ready to do this long before you're ready to update, okay? Now, the $1 million question, how much does this cost, okay? Well, I've been asked that question a lot, and my answer is this: how much is a car? Well, it kind of depends, okay? Is it a Yugo or is it a Benz, all right? So we don't sell Yugos around here, but we do have different levels. We talked about Core, Select, Premier, the 3 different functional levels of our WMS, our warehouse management system. We talked about 63 enhancements off to the side. Some of you may have very basic needs, and you're not a manufacturer. So the core is all you need. Maybe you want to print labels. Maybe we add label printing on there for you. But that's it. Okay? Probably half of our clients, once they pick the WMS version, that's all they need. And then the other half, maybe you're a manufacturer and you want to add on bill of materials or production management. Okay? Or maybe you want to wave pick. You want to pick orders simultaneously. So if I have 1 truckload scheduled to go somewhere, I can put one customer's 5 orders on there. Imagine this. If I've got 5 orders on 1 truckload, if I pick them one at a time, let's say all 5 of them have the same item on it, one fast mover. Well, that means that picker's got to go to that location 5 separate times. Wouldn't it be cool if I could combine them on the handheld and have them go to that location one time, pick everything they need, and then put it in separate boxes in a separate step? Okay. So again, it's all about building efficiency. So these add-on enhancements obviously cost a little bit extra, but if you're a manufacturer, that's what you need. If we can save you tons of footsteps every day, these kind of things like wave picking will pay for themselves in days because of labor savings. Okay. Now, in general, nothing to do with us here at ScanForce, nothing to do with Sage, but in general, barcoding systems are estimated to pay for themselves in about 6 to 18 months. Okay. I've been doing this, again, for nearly 25 years. I will go to my grave. I'll die on this hill. I'll tilt against this windmill forever. Barcoding systems don't cost money. They make money. In efficiencies, saving in footsteps, saving in missed shipments, saving in ticking your customer off because you screwed up their order. Those kind of things just don't happen when you're scanning barcodes and the user gets instant feedback that says, nope, that's not the green one. That's the red one. You picked the wrong one. So they get instant feedback. We just sort of nip these kind of things in the bud, okay? So, again, my name is Brian Berry. I'm your liaison to ScanForce. Talk to whoever you talk to at DWD and say, I'd like to talk to that crazy barcode guy, and they will get me on the phone with you, and you can tell me your whole life story, all the problems in your warehouse, and I will show you the aspects of ScanForce's barcoding system that can help mitigate some of those problems and alleviate those things, remove them from your operation, help you be efficient, help you be more accurate. Bottom line, help you save money and help you have happy customers. Okay? All right, that's it for me, Chris.
Okay, so I want to first, thanks, Brian. I think there's one add-on I just want you to maybe talk just a little bit about that you guys built this last year, the image capture.
Sure, absolutely, image capture, yes. So with image capturing, these barcode scanners, these handheld devices, are much like phones. They have a camera built into the back of them. So we've built in an application that allows you to take an image either while you're receiving something or while you're packing and shipping something for proof. Now, on the inbound side, let's say you roll the bed of the truck up and all the stuff in there, all the pallets are tilted over at a 45-degree angle, okay? Or you pull a pallet off or open up a box and everything inside is just destroyed. Looks like the Tasmanian devil went through there. Well, with this add-on, you could snap a picture of that and instantly it gets saved in Sage. We're going to create a new folder in Sage where these things will all get backed up and they're saved there. And we name the file image, the image of the file, we name it the PO number -001, like a sequential counter. So you could take 10 pictures of a busted up load and have, dash 001, 002, 003, that sort of thing. But they're all saved under the PO number. Now, anybody in purchasing or shipping or whoever can go into there, type in the PO number, and they'll see thumbnails of all those images, okay? Now, on the outbound side, it's the exact opposite. Maybe you want to prove that it looked pristine when it left your building. So you could snap a picture of a pallet that was perfectly packed, or a case that was packed well, or the truck with a bunch of stuff loaded on it that looks nice and neat and tidy. And so if it's all, upended by the time it gets to the other end, you have proof via images that it didn't look like that when it left your dock, and now you have an issue with the carrier. So instead of coming back on you for that, they can go after the carrier for the damage. And I've had a lot of people tell me, fighting one of these types of issues is more expensive than adding this application that would protect me against every one of these issues. So the image capture, it's one of our very newest things. And I have a whole webinar that I did on this, okay? Actually, if you go out to YouTube and search for ScanForce, you can find our YouTube page, and there's dozens and dozens of individual webinars just like this one right here, but on specific issues like multi-bin, if you're interested in storing things in more than one place, or image capture, or production management, or wave picking. So there's stuff out there for all of these individual applications or enhancements that can be added on. So thanks for bringing that up, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a question out there. Can barcodes be added to Sage-generated sales orders? So I think I'll take this one. I think so. Barcodes can be added to any printed form that has an ID number we need to scan, be it the sales order number, be it the item code that's on there, right? So if I'm printing a pick list, right, we can add a barcode to the pick list so that the scanners can scan the pick list, right? And because maybe we don't have barcodes out on our racking or on boxes or on the product or whatever the reasoning is, right? So that's a thing that us at DoD can handle because it's a crystal report modification. We'll go in, we'll add the barcode, right? Typically just say, hey, where do you want it, right? Maybe print out and circle where you want us to, put that barcode in. We'll have you test it with your scanner because there's a few different barcode fonts to the point Brian made, right? And some work better than others, it seems, with some scanners. So usually we do a little quick test thing, and then, yeah, you can absolutely use barcodes on any of your paperwork that goes out. So if that didn't answer the question, let me know. I know who would do it. So yeah, shoot me an email if I didn't answer it. But yes, we can add barcodes to about any form in Sage. So, all right, thanks, Brian. I appreciate the time today. Like Brian said, if you have any questions, reach out, let us know. We work with Brian and his team day in and day out to help clients with these types of things. So a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge on our side, and obviously with Brian's side, just an amazing amount of knowledge and experience. So we're going to bring both of our highly intelligent brains together and help you the best we can. So
absolutely.
Thanks again, Brian, for joining us today. Thanks for everybody that stayed through. And we'll go back through these questions. Afterwards, there is a email that will go out that is a questionnaire about today and other things like this that we will do in the future, and just any feedback you can provide, any ideas of what you would like us to cover in future webinars, any of that stuff we really do read and really do take into account. So please provide that feedback as you get those, and everyone go have a great week.